Hi, and in this MicroVid, we'll be continuing on the topic of breathing mechanics, and specifically, we'll be talking about the respiratory pressures today. Before we get into the various respiratory pressures, it's important to understand how those pressures are measured, and I've listed here the three most common units of measurement for pressure when referencing the respiratory system, and that is millimeters of mercury, centimeters of water, and atmosphere. Let's talk about the different types of pressures in the respiratory system. The first pressure that you need to know is called atmospheric pressure. The atmospheric pressure is simply the air pressure in the atmosphere, and this is 760 millimeters of mercury. The next pressure is called alveolar pressure. The alveolar pressure is the air pressure in the alveoli of the lung. So this is the air pressure in the lung itself. Now this alveolar pressure, unlike atmospheric pressure, will change with breathing. The next pressure is called intrapleural pressure. The intrapleural pressure is the air pressure in the intrapleural space. That is the space in between the lung and the chest wall. And it's important to note that the intrapleural pressure is negative with respect to alveolar pressure. What do I mean by that? I mean that if alveolar pressure is 760 millimeters of mercury, intrapleural pressure must be lower than 760 millimeters of mercury for normal breathing to occur. The final pressure that we are going to talk about today is called transpulmonary pressure. This is the pressure difference between the alveolar and the intrapleural pressures. So let's take a look at those. So here we have our lungs and the chest wall with the different types of pressures. We've got the atmospheric pressure, that's the pressure in the atmosphere. We said the alveolar pressure is the pressure in the lungs themselves. You can see that drawn by that purple X. The intrapleural pressure is the pressure in the space in between the lungs and the chest wall. And we said that this is negative relative to alveolar pressure. And finally, we have the transpulmonary pressure. And the transpulmonary pressure is the pressure difference between the alveolar pressure and the intrapleural pressure. So this is just a brief intro to the different types of pressures that you'll come across in the respiratory system.